everyone. Today is April 15th, which is usually called Tax Day. So I'm going to tell you what are taxes. We're going to read this book about taxes today. It's by Joseph Stanley. What are taxes by Joseph Stanley? There's a big contents page here. We're going to start with communities need money, and we'll go on from there. Communities need money. It costs a lot of money to keep a community running. Fixing roads, paying police officers and firefighters, and building new public schools are just some of the things communities need money to do. Where does this money come from? It comes from taxes. Taxes are amounts of money paid to local, state, and national governments for services citizens use, from health care to public parks. There are many different kinds of taxes that pay for different services. It's important to know what these taxes are before you need to start paying them. People have been paying taxes for thousands of years. Citizens of ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome paid taxes. Before people paid their taxes with money, they often paid the government with crops that they grew. Government leaders work hard to make sure tax dollars are used in the best possible way. Paying taxes is an important part of citizenship. Citizens of the United States have rights, and they also have responsibilities. Paying taxes is one of their biggest responsibilities. Although Americans generally understand the importance of taxes, they're sometimes unhappy with how much money they have to pay. In fact, Americans have been protesting high taxes for hundreds of years. When what's now the United States was a group of 13 British colonies, high taxes became one of the reasons Americans fought for their freedom in the American Revolution. In 1765, the Stamp Act was passed by Great Britain to tax printed materials such as newspapers and playing cards in American colonies. It was one of the most unpopular taxes in the colonies and was repealed or officially stopped the next year. In 1773, colonists who were angry about the British tax on tea dumped hundreds of chests of tea into the Boston Harbor in Massachusetts in protest. This event became known as the Boston Tea Party, and it's an early example of the protests against taxes that continue today in the United States. Taxes continued to play an important part in the U.S. history after colonists became independent. Although they didn't have to pay taxes to Britain anymore, they weren't free from all taxes. The U.S. Constitution, which set up the new U.S. government, gave Congress the power to collect taxes. Today, Americans continue to pay federal taxes, which are taxes paid to the national government. State and local governments also have the power to collect taxes from citizens. People pay different amounts of money in taxes depending on where they live in the United States. The federal government needs money to run all the branches of the U.S. military and other national security agencies. This kind of spending is called defense spending, and it's generally paid for with tax dollars. These are just some of the things tax dollars are used for in the United States. People often have different opinions about how tax dollars should be spent. What do you think should get the most money from taxpayers? Here are the different things: roads, defense spending, health care, parks, post offices, fire and police departments, bridges, and public schools. What do you think is most important? Taxes are collected in many different ways. One common kind of tax is an income tax. This is money that's taken out of a person's income, or how much money they earn by working and given to the government. Most people have money taken out of every paycheck to pay their income tax. The federal government gets most of its money from this kind of tax. People who make the most money have to pay the most money in federal income taxes. In addition, many states and some local governments also collect income taxes. My hair's been really crazy the past couple of days. In 1913, the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified or formally approved. This amendment allowed Congress to create a federal income tax. In December 2017, President Trump signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act into law. This act changed income taxes in major ways and led to many debates about whether those changes would be good or bad for Americans. Another kind of tax is also taken out of a person's paycheck. It's called a payroll tax or FICA tax. FICA stands for Federal Insurance Contributions Act. This money goes toward two programs that help people in the United States. FICA taxes help pay for Social Security, which is a program that provides money for older people who've stopped working, as well as people with disabilities. These taxes also help pay for Medicare. This is a program that provides health care coverage for people over the age of 65 and younger people with disabilities. Around 170 million people in the United States pay FICA taxes every year. I think the rooster likes this book. Although younger people don't often need the services FICA funds right now, they might need them as they get older. Paying FICA taxes gives them the ability to use Social Security funds and Medicare when they need them. Have you ever bought something that ended up costing more money than the price tag showed? In many cases, the extra cost comes from sales taxes. We don't have sales tax in Oregon, but in other states they have it. Not all, but most states have sales tax. A sales tax is added to the price of goods, and that money then goes to the government. If you buy things in different places, you might notice that the sales tax isn't always the same. State and local governments can collect their own sales taxes to raise money for things they need. Some states don't make people pay any sales tax, like Oregon. An excise tax is a tax on a specific service or good, such as gas for cars. This kind of tax is paid by the business selling the good or service, but they include it in the price consumers pay to cover the cost. Next time you go shopping, check to see if you had to pay a sales tax on what you bought. Now you know what the extra cost is for. This happens like when my mom, who lives in New York, she orders something online to give us for Christmas, for example. She might say, can I just mail it straight to you so I don't have to pay tax? Because if it's ending up in Oregon, she doesn't get charged a tax. But if she has it sent to New York, she does get charged a tax. Okay, when people are buying a house, they often ask about the property taxes they'll have to pay. A property tax is a tax on homes, other buildings, and land that a person owns. The local government generally decides how much property tax a person needs to pay based on how much the property is worth. Because property taxes generally go to local governments, the money goes right into the community a person lives in. Property taxes are used to pay government workers, fix roads, run schools, and do many other important things in a community. There's a picture in the corner of Alaskan homes, and it says some places in the United States have no property taxes. For example, in Alaska, only 24 local governments out of 165 are funded by property taxes. Buying a home is a big decision, and property taxes often play an important part in helping people decide what house to buy. Many people don't like paying taxes, but they understand that it's part of their responsibilities as a citizen. Some people, however, try to get away with paying no taxes at all, or with paying less than they actually owe. This is called tax evasion, and it's illegal. People can go to jail for not paying their taxes. The part of the U.S. government in charge of finding cases of tax evasion is called the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. The IRS's main job is to collect taxes and to enforce or make sure people follow tax laws. Some people hire accountants to help them with their taxes. An accountant is a person who keeps records of money spent and earned and helps people file their tax returns, which lists important tax information, such as income. When people pay their taxes, they sometimes worry that they'll get in trouble with the IRS for making a mistake. However, tax evasion can only happen when someone purposely pays too little or none of their taxes. Many Americans feel very strongly about taxes. They often work hard to earn enough money for themselves and their family, and they don't always like the idea of giving some of that money to the government. They want to know that government leaders are putting their tax dollars to good use. In some communities, meetings are held about how to spend tax dollars. Citizens can go to these meetings and share their opinions. Everyone has to pay taxes, but everyone also has a right to share their thoughts on what those taxes should be used for. A 2018 study showed that 61% of Americans believe the amount of money they're paying in taxes is fair. What can you do? Learn more about what taxes pay for in your community, state, and country. Write to government leaders about how you think tax dollars should be used. Talk to a parent or guardian about the taxes they pay and how they pay them. Pay attention to the sales tax when you buy things. Not as appropriate for us. If you get an allowance, ask a parent or guardian to take a small amount of the money out of it to use for a fun family activity. This helps you practice paying income taxes. These are some of the things you can do to better understand taxes and to share your educated opinions about taxes with other people. It's never too early to start thinking about this important part in life. In the back there is a glossary, so I'll tell you some of the definitions of the words we used. Agency is a government department that is responsible for a certain activity or area. Amendment is a change in the words or meaning of a law or document, such as a constitution. Consumer is a person who purchases goods or services. Debate is an argument or discussion about an issue, generally between two sides. Fund is to provide money for a special purpose, also an amount of money used for a special purpose. Information, facts about something. Material, something from which something else can be made. Program, a system under which action can be taken toward a goal. Protest, to speak out strongly against something. Also, an event in which people gather to speak out strongly against something. Responsibility, a duty that a person should do. And specific, special, or particular. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about taxes. It is confusing, and there's a lot to learn, so every little bit helps. I'm going to read another book a little later, but for now, have a good day.